Hello, welcome to Burgess and Associates Bylaw Officer online training programs. I'd like to give you an overview of what the programs contain and how you can customize those for whatever profession that you're looking to get into or to upgrade. There are core competencies with any profession, especially any enforcement type roles or regulatory compliance type roles. The programs are designed to give you everything you're going to need in order to be able to do that job, and also a support system after you actually get into that line of work. It doesn't matter what province or territory you live in Canada, you'll find case law studies and specific legislation references and studies for the province that you're going to be working in. So it doesn't matter, it's a generic course. The law is the law. However, provincially and within municipalities, those laws, those bylaws, if you will change from place to place, as you'll see within the course. I think the days of memorizing a section number and then parroting them back for an exam are done, thank goodness. It's more important once you get into the profession that you understand what legislation means rather than to know what the section, to quote what it actually says in the section. At the end of the day, your bosses or you or I are not legally allowed to interpret the written words in any law book. That job is left up to the court. So understanding case law and what it means and where to go and find it when you need it is the most important skill set that you can actually possess. Even Einstein himself said he didn't need to remember everything. He just needed to remember where he wrote it down. Wise words, I think. With any course that talks about the law or legislation or how to apply the law, the materials can seem very complicated at times, and that's because they were written by lawyers, they were interpreted by the courts. But at the end of the day, it's more important that you understand what the courts meant by what they ruled on. I mean, lawyers and courts are there to give us clarity and legal interpretations, if you will, as to how the laws are to be applied, what is reasonable, what is not, what is within the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and what is not. That sort of stuff is found within case law. We'll guide you through that as you go through the course, and it's not nearly as complicated as what most people think that it is. Communications, obviously, is a very big skill set. Even if you've had communication skills before, quite often it had to do with tactical communications or verbal judo or terms like that. That subject matter has actually expanded greatly now into understanding forms of cognitive impairment, dealing with potentially mentally ill persons, understanding and how to de-escalate aggressive people. You're going to get some of those in your enforcement roles, or what they call difficult people. Trial by social media is a term that has come into the forefront of late, and that's mostly because in today's technology world that nearly every cell phone has a video camera on it. And within a very short period of time, you potentially could end up on YouTube, and it could get flashed all over the evening news. Cell phones can be your best friend or your worst nightmare. It just depends on what you do, how you do it, what you say, and how you say it. And you just need to know that you serve the public. They expect transparency. They expect accountability. And yes, a person is legally allowed to record you at any time when you're doing your job. I mean, we work for the public, and they expect that clarification and that accountability. We have three streams or different areas of study in our bylaw courses. The generalized one, if you're not sure what area that you want to progress into, that's a very good course to take. It gives you all the legal background, as you'll see in a minute. In some larger municipalities, you could be a specialist in just noise bylaw complaint, or just animal control, or just parking, or a combination of those. In some places, you're able to branch out into building inspections, property standards, that sort of thing. But the general bylaw services program, the core competency course as we call it, is a really good place to start if you're not sure what your career path is going to be. Now, having said that, we do get people that call up that say, we're looking just to get into, or I'm just looking to get into an SPCA role, or working for an affiliate office or a private company that does animal control. Some of them do enforcement, some do animal control, some do both, some do domestic animals, some do wild animals, some do both. Again, with parking, some places have their own parking officers, some don't, some are contracted security guards, and we often get those folks looking for parking enforcement roles. So there's quite a generalization as far as the areas that you can get into, and you can always specialize later. Here's a list of some of the core competency topics that are covered. Some of these are duplicated in the parking course, some are duplicated in the animal control course, especially when it comes to things like evidence collection, using photographs as evidence, note-taking, report writing, your authorities to act as an officer, your powers of entry onto property or into buildings, your authority to seize, for example, dangerous dogs, that sort of stuff if you do that. What the court process is, how to testify in court, what to expect, especially if you've not done this before. We'll give you a step-by-step process in how to do that and where to go and find information about each one of these things. Each module in all our programs builds on the material covered in the previous module. There's assignments within those modules that you would send to your instructor. That's just so we can help you stay on track with where you're going, put things into the right context for you. There's a final exam at the end of it, quizzes along the way, and yes, we do issue a certificate once you successfully complete the program. If you look in the online program, our dedicated platform, which is courses.burgessandassok.com, that's courses.burgessandassok.com, you will see in there the materials on court cases, legal opinions, articles, video links, all that sort of stuff to support you in that course that you're on. And you can always email your instructor for additional information. If you have other questions or need further clarifications about which course you should take, or you have detailed questions about any specific courses, just email us directly at this email address on the screen. You can just click on the website, contact us. It'll also come straight through to us, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can on the next business day. Final word, within each provinces and territories, every police officer is also a provincial enforcement officer, is also a bylaw officer, meaning a police officer can come into a municipality either as a contractor, let's say the RCMP, the OPP, that sort of thing, and they can enforce bylaws within that municipality, or that job has been left up to the municipality who hires their own people to do it, and the police officer is left to do things like, speeding tickets or liquor enforcement at a provincial level. Either way, the content that the police are taught is the same content that we've inserted in this program for you here. So there's no difference. You'll actually get all the same material that a police officer would get. The only thing you're going to be finding that's different is your authorities, because obviously a bylaw officer is not a peace officer unless you're actually enrolled in that, engaged rather in that role of doing that. You'll see that's within legislation as well in court cases. Again, if you have any other questions, just contact us directly. We'd be happy to answer your questions for you. Thank you.